Welcome from Global Studio. When we listen to the podcast, we unwind and fall asleep. I'm Thomas, and I wanted to start off tonight by saying that the team and I are grateful for each and every one of you joining me now and whenever you tune in, regardless of your circumstances. You feel extremely welcome here and that this is a safe, comfortable place where you can just relax, forget about everything else, and spend some time visualizing the pleasant sights and stories we depict and tell. Of narratives, tonight is a really easy one. After the sun sets, you start your nightly routine and enjoy the peaceful comforts of a restful evening at home. Now that it's almost time to start our story, I'd like you to reflect on your day. Consider when you got out of bed this morning, whether you had coffee, sat down to work, or looked after the kids. You might have watered your plants, taken your dog for a walk, or spent a peaceful morning alone with family. After that, you might have eaten lunch or an afternoon snack or spoken on the phone. Our days are full of routines. On some days, we go through the same movements that provide us comfort and structure. On other days, something unexpected or different occurs, and we might need to figure out how to find balance. We'll follow a routine in tonight's narrative that some of you may recognize. We'll watch the house become black in the last of the light, turn on the lamps, get everything ready for the next day, and then lay down in bed for a restful night's sleep. Adhere to, after all, the mental motions we make are just as significant as the ones we do while going about our daily lives, so I hope it will be soothing for you to join me as I read it to you today. Let's start our story immediately. The last few folks were coming into their driveways for the night just after sunset here at home, while the soft sound of dusk drifted over the landscape. A cozy, drowsy tale to help you fall asleep. The light outside the window in the living room is starting to go out. Observe the home across the street as the last rays of sunset softly illuminate it with an orange hue. In the distance, the sky appears to be a prairie. Breathe deeply, holding it for a moment, as rose-pink, feathery white clouds slowly drift above the horizon. And then feel a wave of calm come over you. Inside the house, the shadows are long, but you notice that your eyes have already started to adjust to the dim light of dusk that permeates the space. The colors of the sofa and chairs have become muted, and the table's wood is more gray than brown. The room's details are softer than usual, so that the edges and lines have begun to blur. Even though the sun is still setting outside, you can feel that night is approaching here inside these walls looking up. The shadow cast by a chair's back extends across the ceiling, down to the chair itself, and the small nightlight that has been flickering behind it. The bulb is attached to a socket at ankle height, and it now reflects a subtle blue over the floor at the edge of your vision. The bookcase against the back wall has rows and rows of vividly colored books that look softer in this soft light. Their spines appear like vertical lines in an abstract painting, with uneven edges and varying heights standing side by side on the long horizontal lines of the shelves. On top of the bookcase is a potted plant with curling leafy tendrils that hang down below the highest shelf. Each leaf stands out as a dark shadow on a curlicue of stem, and one by one they climb down to the topmost shelf, a ladder of dark growth stretching towards the ground. In the twilight haze, the plant appears almost like something out of the ocean, with sweeping ropes of seaweed diving deep beneath the waves in a mermaid's library, or perhaps just the reflection of a vine on the surface of a glassy lake. When the light fades, it's easy for your imagination to take root and see shapes that would otherwise only appear in dreams. The small wooden table next to the cozy armchair, which appears to be as warm and inviting as ever. A lamp with a frosted glass shade and a picture of a picturesque coastline are always on top of the table. Village painted on it. Seagulls fly across a powder blue sky as puffy white clouds float above them as you grab the dangling brass chain beneath the shade with your fingertips and pull. With a click, the lamp fills the room with light, and the same light shines behind the seaside village, making it come to life. The windows of the charming little cottages glow with morning sun. With red and white stripes running up to its pointed top, a lighthouse sits on the rocky shore. The bulb serves as a brilliant beacon for all the small boats that glide across the seas below. Your imagination takes control as you gaze at this painted picture. You can practically feel the fresh sea breeze blowing through your hair and taste the salt on your mouth, as well as hear the cry of the gulls as they soar above your head. As waves smash against the rocks and hurl plumes of spray skyward, the sun's warmth caresses your arms and cheeks. You grin as you imagine how amazing it would be to go through this image into the beach town and feel the gentle mist of water droplets being transported to your skin by the breeze. And spend a day there. You could choose to ascend to the top of the lighthouse to observe sailboats glide across the ocean, or go to one of the cottages, where the aroma of a home-cooked meal would delight your senses. Alternatively, you could watch as the lampshade projects images of the scene on the wall behind it, with the same boats floating like glided shadows along the white-painted backdrop, leaving the lamp and seaside village behind you as you approach the window. As you watch the porch lights of nearby houses flicker to life, you can see that the street lights have turned on outside, illuminating the ground around them in pools of orange. Fairy lights. After taking one last look at the peaceful scene outside, you reach up and draw the blinds and curtains closed behind you. Then you turn and enter the kitchen, where the dishes are already clean and stacked in the drying rack, and the overhead light gleams off the kitchen lights. When the shiny silver bottom of a pot is upside down, you are thankful that this routine chore is already completed, which serves as a pleasant reminder of a job well done. There may be a few glasses or cups left on the counter, but you don't mind because there will be plenty of time to. When you think about tomorrow, you remind yourself that whatever you can do today is sufficient, and that a new day opens up a whole new world of opportunities. Counters are wiped up and the dish towels hung to dry on the handle of the stove. One towel has a picture of a black and white spotted cow standing on a patch of grass. Rolling green hills complete the scene along with a golden bell around the cow's neck. It's a happy picture, you think, The other town is just plain olive green, made of terry cloth with small raised squares like a quilt. It's nice to dry your hands on that one, and you're always happy when it comes out fresh from the laundry. You look at each appliance, from the refrigerator and electric kettle to the stove and toaster, and you see that the coffee pot is clean and ready to deliver a steaming cup tomorrow morning. Next to it, there's a jar full of tea bags and a bag of freshly roasted coffee beans. It's great too. Of something revitalizing, you glance at the dining room table, which has a small cluster of flowers standing in water at the center of a curving glass bar. Rough fern-like leaves on thin stalks around the pink, red, and yellow blossoms. For some people, home means different things, but in this place, it means comfort and security, the stability of routine, knowing where the dishes and cutlery go, and where to find the little scraps of scrap paper when you need to write a note. The aromas of flowers fill the air and mix with the scent of dinner prepared hours ago. When they do, you notice that everything appears slightly larger than it did before. The refrigerator is wider and the kettle is taller. How the quality of light can alter how commonplace things are perceived is quite amazing. Items. It's time to get ready for bed. You return to the lamp with the seaside village and pull the brass chain once more. The light goes out and you feel the village settling down for the night, just like you enter the bedroom. You look down at your hands and can barely make out the individual lines of your fingers held out in front of you. Pajamas, put them on, and savor the cozy sensation of the silky fabric against your skin before going to the loo to brush your teeth. This has always been a pretty mindful task for you. As the day comes to an end, you take a sip of water to stay hydrated and to enjoy the sensation of a freshly cleaned mouth. Then, you switch off the light using your fingers. Back in the bedroom, you repeat the same pattern, flicking off the light with your fingertips and turning on the small lamp on the bedside table. And observe how it creates a tiny circle of light right where you sleep. The table is tiny and the same height as the bed. On top of it, you place a glass of water and you pull back the covers and sit down on the mattress, feeling how your body weight slightly presses against the top of it. You lean back and pull one of the fluffy pillows behind you. There's a small drawer that opens in the front side, and inside is a mess of important items and scraps of paper that you've tucked away out of sight. Maybe you'll organize it one day, but not tonight. It keeps you comfy and supports your spine as you read carefully. You pull the sheets up so the top fold sits on your lap from the table, slide your legs under the covers, and pick up the book. Feel its weight in your hands. The cover is firm yet silky. You run your fingertips over the title's embossed text. The shining, exquisite bumps beneath your skin are glossy, and, as you put it on your knees, it falls open too. After finishing the page last night, you take the bookmark off of it and place it on the table next to you. You read one page, then another, and finally complete the chapter. You go on to the next one and watch the story unfold line by line. As you read, You notice that your eyelids are getting heavy and want to close so that pictures can replace the words in your head. You blink slowly in an attempt to reach the end of the chapter, but your eyes are too tired to guide your hand movements as you insert the bookmark between the pages. Put the book back on the table after closing it. Feel a yawn coming on, then put your hand to your lips. Your muscles twitch as the yawn spreads throughout your body, as though you're reacting by extending your arms over your head and then out to the sides, then return them to your lap. You want to feel the weight of the covers on your entire body as the bed seems even cozier now. You move into the bed and adjust the pillow that has been supporting your back so that it lies beneath your head, which you then snuggle into the ideal position before reaching back towards the table. Then turn off the reassuring lamp. The room is dark, like a curtain drawn across a window at night. This bed looks rather comfy, don't you think? Feeling of appreciation when you think about the flowers on the table, the green plant hanging over the bookshelf, the cow on the tea towel in the kitchen, and the charming seaside village with the tall lighthouse on the lampshade, you wonder if the village is sleeping. Wells up inside you with the knowledge that you have everything you need, a safe place to sleep, and a good book to read. Your space is warm and cozy, and the sheets and pillow are soft and welcoming. Tiny waves lap at the rocky shore as the sailboats draw in their sails and return to a calm harbor, coming in and going out with the tide. You ponder whether the moon is bright overhead and whether the stars are twinkling in a pitch-black sky. At each cottage, you picture families putting kids to bed or perhaps reading a book until they nod off. You picture quiet living rooms and kitchens with the curtains drawn. Perhaps there are lights similar to those in your neighborhood that softly illuminate the village streets, which are depicted in the darkness behind your eyelids where you can see the village at night. In the depths of your imagination, you envision the lighthouse glittering beacon on the otherwise shadowed coastline and the lighthouse keeper tucked away in bed. The images from the lampshade intermingle with the familiar rooms of your home. The sights and smells and sounds intertwine. The cool sea breeze and the scent of the flowers. The cry of the gulls and the salt on your tongue. The sound of the refrigerator whirring softly to sleep. And the sound of the waves crashing on the shore. They all slowly blend together into the static noise of a resting mind. Slowly you feel your mind begin to wander. The sounds get farther away, like echoes on the wind, and the images get farther and farther away, the lines getting blurry like the watercolor's edge. And with them, you can find yourself falling asleep thinking that you are secure and cozy tonight.